Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I would like to share my reflection with you on two verses or two ayat of the Quran, which are verses 19 and 20 of Surah Ar-Rahman, or the Universally Compassionate, and that is chapter 55 of the Quran. So the ayat says, Allah mixed two bodies of water and let them meet, and made between them a barrier so they would not transgress over one another. And one way to understand it is to look at on earth and see two bodies of water that they meet, and there is a barrier between them and they don't transgress over one another. But the word bahr, or sea, body of water, in Arabic language can also be used metaphorically. For example, if you say, so and so is a sea of knowledge, is an ocean of knowledge, means he has abundant knowledge. So if we look at the metaphorical meaning of the ayah, to understand what it means for us here and now in our daily lives, we can look at the meaning in that sense. So the two bodies of water can be understood as each human being is an ocean in themselves. They are a sea. They are full of treasures, potentials, and gems, talents, and unique abilities, and knowledge, and subjected experience. And no human being can fully go inside another human being to understand and to know everything as that human being is experiencing. So in that way, each of them, they meet, but they don't transgress over another, and there is a barrier between them. And that barrier is the communication. So communications is a barrier in a way that should not make us transgress over one another. For example, an offensive word is a transgression. To belittle another human being is a transgression. To mock or make fun of another human being or bullying another human being is also a transgression. Backbiting a human being is a transgression. And the Quran prohibits us from doing all these acts of transgression. So we have to have a barrier, and that barrier is our communication, our words, our actions, and the way we interact with one another. Because after all, the Prophet ﷺ said that religion is how you interact with people, and that he came to perfect the human character or the human virtues, makarim al-akhlaq, the beautiful ethics and manners. And it is also said that cleaning is an aspect of faith. So our actions are aspect of faith. What we do with our lives are aspect of faith. Faith is not to be minimized to only rituals that we do and a set of beliefs that are even not verified. So that's one way to look at the ayah, that each human being is an ocean in themselves, and between them there is the barrier, that is the communication, and that prevents them from transgressing against one another. Another way to understand the ayah is that the two bodies of water could be symbolizing or metaphors for the sea of individuality and the sea of unity. And the two seas have a barrier, they shouldn't transgress over one another. For example, each one has rights and has responsibility. And we are like one body. If one organ hurts, if one being hurts, the whole humanity would hurt. And that is how we should see each other as organs of one body, because there is underlying unity that even connect us to nature. Part of our respiratory system, our lungs, hangs on trees. Part of our urinary system is in the water resources. Part of our digestive system are hanged again on trees, fruits, vegetables, and herbs. So we are deeply connected and interacting with the universe. So in that sea of unity, the sea of individuality should not transgress over it. And the sea of unity should also not transgress to eliminate individual rights and uniqueness and originality, and should not demand of the person to just follow the norm of a society blindly. One should be discerning and should be able to come with their own original thoughts, share their unique and original talents, and bring something different and something beautiful to the world. So these two oceans, again, the ocean of individuality and the ocean of unity, should be balanced. And a barrier should be, a protective barrier should be between them so that they will not transgress against one another. Another third way to understand the metaphor of the two bodies of water is the physical realm and the subtle spiritual inner realm. And those should not also transgress against each other. The human being is, in all these three examples, is the barrier or is the intermediate realm. We are the intermediate between the outer and the inner, between the physical world and the subtle world of forms that is formed from how we abstract subtle images and subtle meanings from and subtle qualities from the physical world. So there is the dense physical world, this is like an ocean, immense ocean, and there is the inner world, the spiritual or the subtle realm that is abstracted from it, and it is also like an ocean. It is vast. And between them, there is the human being as a barrier, which means, again, that it is a protective barrier that keeps the balance between the inner and the outer. For example, if someone overly indulge in the physical pleasure and physical world without paying attention to the inner spiritual world, then there is the balance is disturbed and the person can never be satisfied. And this dissatisfaction is a sign that you should turn inwardly more. On the other hand, if the person is in fantasy world, inner fantasy world, and have dreams and have fantasies and have wishes, but never work for it and never materialize it and never do something in the outer world, but just staying inwardly with the dreams and fantasies and desires and feelings, then there is also an imbalance because nothing will be accomplished in the outer world and the person would feel a dissatisfaction. So the straight path is the middle path, is to balance between the inner, subtle, subjective, spiritual world and the outer, dense, physical, material world. And again, it is to balance the ocean of unity and the ocean of individuality, and it is to balance between my right, your right, each one have a right and responsibility. And no one should transgress against the other or no ocean or world should transgress against the other. But definitely they meet, as the Quran says. So we meet one another, the individual meets the unity, and also the inner meets the outer in a way that the inner abstracts meanings and qualities and feeling and sensation from the outer and forms its ocean or world. And also they meet in a way that what I feel and what I abstract as meaning, I can express outwardly and materialize it. So this materializing actions and creations and expressions, they embody the meaning, they embody the spirit, they embody the qualities, the spiritual qualities and the feelings and the thoughts turn to ideas, these ideas turn to inventions, for example, so they get materialized. So in that way, they do meet, but they don't transgress in a way that you can't bring the physical inside to the other realm fully, you know, and you can't also bring the meanings just as meanings without being materialized. So in that way, they meet, but they don't transgress over one another if the human being who is the intermediate realm or the intermediate barrier become conscious and aware and become a protective barrier so no word can transgress over the other. And that is the balance or the straight path that Allah asks us to walk in order to reach our contentment. So may He guide us to reach that balance and feel content and become at peace with oneself and one's world, and may He bring this harmony between the inner and the outer and between people, and may He make us able to be His representative and make our action pleasing to ourselves and to the world, and make the world pleasing to us as well. Ameen, Ameen. Thank you, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.